but it's not okay. Whatever, can I walk away? Oh yeah. Can still see your face, so tell me what to do, cause I can't find a way. Baby, please just tell me if I'm, tell me if I'm, tell me if I'm fine. Tell me if I'm, tell me if I'm, tell me if I'm, baby, please just tell me if I'm fine.
Just tell me if I'm fine.
But it's not okay. Whatever, can I walk away? Oh yeah. I love you too, don't love me back. I can't stand this feeling inside my mind. Baby, please just tell me if I'm fine. Please just tell me if I'm fine, cause I don't know why it's stuck in my heart, baby. Please just tell me if I'm fine.
Just tell me if I'm fine.
You say I make you nervous, a tragedy, I'm a beautiful disaster, a reckoning, you wonder how I got this way. You think I'm someone to be saved, someone to clean up and tame. Oh, some things never change, never change. You think I would look pretty on your arm once you cover up my bruises and battle scars, but it always ends the same. Can't bear the things I've had to face, got you crying on your knees in pain. Oh, some things never change, never change. You'll break your back to make me feel again. I stopped asking for forgiveness, cause you should know only fools tread where the angels fear to go, but you keep trying to get too close. Save myself by turning into stone, so save your judgment cause you just don't know. But some things never change, never change. They say I should feel guilty and change my ways, leaving crumpled bodies in my wake. Swear I didn't mean to make them break, swear I didn't mean to make them break. But they're so delicate and so mundane, and they keep coming like a moth to a flame. Oh, some things never change, never change. You'll break your back to make me feel again.
Calls the angels from the underground. Dreams today, yeah, demons that we are. 'Cause I am your memory, tracking you down.
Welcome on back, folks, to Conference 1, and I haven't been here in a while. I was here pretty much for the debut of this whole thing, and I come here on an emergency basis, but it is what it is. I'm with my bestie here, Dor. We have a big match tonight.
Oh, yeah. We're hoping Paul's all right in Texas, but it's all about the West Coast now. It's Oregon up against University of Washington. This is a storied match, and one that, right, initially I thought was going to be kind of one-sided. They're both solid teams, but University of Oregon has always had that little bit of something. And then University of Oregon went and took a loss last week against a team that we haven't really gotten to talk much about, Cal Poly Pomona Broncos, who have just been secretly running over the competition. This is a night where things kind of hopefully can settle down a little bit and we can figure out where exactly we are.
I mean, you were talking before the stream, because I haven't exactly touched too much on collegiate Valorant, although I do actually, I am actually an analyst for Full Sail University. I haven't really studied the teams all too much. So you said that you do have a history of watching at least Oregon. What are they like?
Well, I mean, they're just a power team. A lot of the times we've seen them, specifically in West Coast stuff, which is why I suppose you haven't really gotten to study them. It's just, different server. They've just whooped everybody they've come up against, all the way back to, I think it was the Team Liquid West Coast War, which was months and months and months ago, like right after the game came out of beta. University of Oregon was still running the same roster and still kicking just as much butt.
Okay. I mean, if anything, I'm just excited to see what hard fraggers there are, at least, because there are still some collegiate teams that come out, at least from the woodworks, to at least try in the bigger tournaments. Like recently we had, I think it was Michigan State, something of the sort, still playing in the main brackets of Riot tournaments and things like that. So if anything, Dor, treat me as a scouter for the night, and you're the one to fill me in.
Yeah. All right. I'll fill you in on the rosters and what I can remember from so far back. Kratos on UOE, University of Oregon, really one to look out for. Over on the other side, Washington, no strangers to him here. Bai and Benny, I believe, were two of the players that we got to see in the last split that really popped off.
Okay. So at least, well, it's going to be a good start, at least for us to see what's going on Bind. I think in terms of Stratbook and what exactly the analytical sense or what the analytical background there is for these teams, I think we're going to see it a little bit more over towards Split. But again, starting off here on Bind, from what you've seen before for collegiate teams, am I right for my inclination just being like, yeah, this should be a good test? It would be more or less maybe a pug? Like, what am I looking at?
This is the litmus test for us, right? And with these teams, we expect some pretty high level of tactical knowledge. They can compete. I believe both of them are Radiant Plus for their whole roster. So solid teams nonetheless, and you can expect really solid strats out of them. But it's still Bind, right? This is the team's basically default. Every team's used to going into this. It's this, Haven, and Ascent, except that brings us back to the pick ban, which I thought was pretty interesting because Washington immediately pulled Ascent out of the pool, which is either a target ban on Oregon or something they're not comfortable on. Either way, it leaves Oregon with the choice of, do we want to play Split or do we want to play Icebox? They get out of Icebox which means that splits up in the pool. It becomes a second map, and that has to be good for, either WGA, who tried to force it to either split or icebox, or Oregon, who are going to be able to take advantage of what might be a targeted ban or a weakness ban from Washington.
It all depends on I guess you could say the VODs that would be out there and whatever studying that these teams could honestly do. But I think just looking at it from maybe just a 20-foot view, I mean, it's Ascent Icebox. I mean, those are just solid bans overall for teams that don't exactly have a deeper strat pool. And I say that mainly because it's what we would see in more tier 3 play, something of the sort for semi-professional play. So seeing those two out, it leaves out the air of maybe mystery, the air of cheese, especially with Ascent, where it's more 1v1 based. You're going to get a lot of individual duels, a lot of isolation, still a lot of really good takes, but you really have to be a coordinated team on that attacking side to really be able to take an advantage. But then you go down to a map like Haven that still is going to be 1v1 based, I guess, but it has to come down to the individual skill of the players in a high pressure situation. So again, don't really know how deep into the season we are. If I'm not mistaken, we are a month in. Dor, am I correct in saying that?
Yeah, just about a month in, and I honestly think these teams have shown enough depth that we can expect some good stuff. We've talked a little bit about the map pool, though. I think it's time we talk about what we see agent-wise, because right now in the pro scene, we're seeing everything from, one duelist to 4 in Korea. So what are you looking at here for Bind?
Okay, so what we're looking at is a little bit more standard nowadays, maybe a Brim actually getting pulled up by P-Man. Brim coming out a little bit more back in fashion, especially with the buffs at least back for his whole system, but even then that could replace a hard Omen. We're going to be seeing maybe actually a Sentinel and a Controller, but double Duelist, no, actually double Sentinel.
Wow.
Here for UOE. I mean, it's a little bit weird because Sage nowadays isn't exactly considered a hard Sentinel. It still is very fluid. It's hard to consider that hard title, but then you go over towards the other team looking like almost a double Duelist, maybe even a triple. Yes, a double at least for now. The Sova's going to get pulled out. Whole lot of information. Going to be able to see if this player actually does have the lineups to go. Ginny might be able to do something hot, but even then, they do have their Sentinel back in the hands of Michael. It's going to be interesting because this is a little bit more clear-cut, while the other side of Oregon, this is more experimental. It is playing more to the individual advantages in a sense.
Yeah, and honestly, one of the weirdest things for me to see here is the Brimstone locked in without an accompanying Phoenix or Arena. Things that allow you to execute and then gain value off of those smokes by flashing out of them. Exactly. So when it comes to executes, gaining extra sight control is going to be extremely hard. So to me, this screams that they have to be able to capitalize on those defensive rounds.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are heading on Bind to open up our game tonight against the University of Washington, facing off against Oregon. And again, I am very excited to see how Brimstone actually acts, because although I said that Brimstone still is coming back into fashion, we haven't seen it all too much in high tier play. So this could at least be something that individual player has still kept very comfortable. Again, you could still manipulate either an Omen or potentially even a Breach in that same position. So I'm going to keep a little bit of a highlight onto P-Man, but even then, the duelists are going to have to come out big. Harambe, ironically, is the name, as now we do have a Raze and a Phoenix. So it's that combo that you mentioned earlier, at least having the flash potential. Of course, Omen is there to try to help out. Today, though, Dora, we saw some nerfs to a couple of guns, and the Frenzy being one of them, and still being used.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Gut feeling here, we haven't seen the pros use it quite yet. Feels like it's still pretty worth the money if you're asking me for what it's been doing to the suit. Yeah, we'll see. The Reyna nerfs came through, so no one locking in that, which, call it a nerf, call it just a rebalance, call it what you will, but the setup here is full standard on the start and one Frenzy per side.
Okay, Tripwire in a tricky position. Baj can't actually find anything. Looking at early util, at least at this point, you do have the boys of UOE actually placing up short, actually double smoke short. That's interesting. Expending both of his smokes this early on, that might leave them in a little bit of a difficult position if they do want to go back for a retake, and WGA just look like they're lining up for an A-split.
Yeah, this paint shell's gonna be the last thing that there's to hold them on. Frenzy around the corner. How much value can this actually get? None! Oh my lord! Somebody fix the right click.
We saw some changes, potentially the right click coming out at some point, but in we go, folks. 4v3, already Jenga again off that split, not making any noise, and not only that, but a late wall just to cover up even more space. So they're not even breaking that down. They just want to face it on one by one. W-Haul control. Benny going to be able to take back Jimmy. Now it's a 1v3 for Konafor. He has no information over towards the bathrooms area, but he still wants to just fight this out, isolate the 1v1s, going in pretty dry. Baj around the corner in the most optimal spot for a frenzy. Makes it count. He was actually still able to get a little bit of armor on. I think it might have actually been a buy from his teammate. Whatever it may be, round back for WGA.
Yeah, no shot there for UOE on the 1v3 clutch, and it's pretty unlikely that we see the force buy up here on the defensive side. Full up to Spectres after the Stinger nerf. Guys, how do you feel about the Stinger nerf? Do you actually think it did enough to warrant this full of a buy?
Well, I mean, looking at what happened earlier today, at least with the nerfs, we still had a lot of time to at least experiment. So me personally, I went into servers just to try it out. The Stinger went into at least the DM, even a comp, and the Stinger nerf actually was pretty legitimate. Didn't exactly see too much of that cheesy close-up spray that you would usually get. Still, that fire rate hasn't really been affected all that much, but it's good at least for the close-up interactions as Shawnee T going in, guns blazing, able to take down two, still one over towards the CT side, rushing in through the smoke, and that's as optimal as you can get. We were talking about the frenzy, not exactly more optimal, but still in a great position. Shawnee T playing that up to a T, running on in and snagging up the frags. That's an almost perfect eco round there, coming in from WGA, and their bonus coming up next could just be easy peasy.
I mean, it's still a terrifying gun to go up against when you've just got a classic or a ghost. So I honestly, for the second round, it feels pretty strong. Turns this into a full bonus, though, for WGA. And with those Spectres, we'll see exactly what they can get up to. They'll definitely have cash for the operator next round if they want to go for it on Shawnee T. And at 4-1, why not give the man a little bit more momentum? Set up outside of A, though, for a pretty quick take. They're looking for an execute in. They've got all the smokes. The pressure is there, but through the smoke, they've got one onto Harambe to open things up.
Yep, W-Haul, that already breaks down immediately. Shawnee T again. I can't believe it. The Stingers are just working. He's just bugging. Holding W, no flash. We were worried about that a little bit earlier on, but the dry peaks are as dry as you can get. Now Oregon, they still have a chance back in a 2v4 retake. That same wall up on site, still lingering as that does begin to break down a little bit, but singular person in you all. Good flake from Michael, great reaction. Double short hold at this point, and actually the turret's not going to be able to get that information. They have to fight this early. They held on to a smoke. Massive from Shawnee, though, and the nano swarm grenade still on site together with an alarm bot, and yet another
poor
nano
Michael.
swarm. Jenga. I mean, that's just sadistic. Washington, they win their bonus, and they're already looking to sweep up Oregon this early on.
Oh my god, I got the full killjoy stack. That's a rough one. The whole market thrown into it. Not much you can do about it. And honestly, even past that, this round is going to be a tough one for them to do anything about as well, because the economy just got even worse. That bonus turned into just more cash in their pocket to Shawnee. 3 rounds into the game, stacked up at 7.6k credits, and they're headed right back towards this A site. Of course, the Brimstone really powerful here for the executes, but we're very likely to see those smokes go down. They'll go for the Radianite, the triple plant, and get out of dodge pretty quick here.
Yeah, Jared, that's just super risky. I mean, that's very much an obvious thing to say, just going off on your own, trying to make that space, but again, no information whatsoever. Going for the early rotation. I mean, if it worked, it would have actually been massive for that information. The Behold could have been held on a little bit more in terms of the util, but at this point, you still have Washington barreling their way onto site. Pretty easy peasy. Only 4 players back for the retake, and it's already getting chipped down. The pistols aren't doing all too much. Baj is trying to make his way into the back of site. Shawnee T gets one back. Same thing with Baj with a second. Washington maintained things flawless. Their economy is booming.
You know, for a team that's not running any flashes, their entries onto these sites have been borderline flawless, and
Immaculate.
UOE could really be doing a lot more to stop these. The paint shells have been decently timed, but they haven't really stopped any of these pushes from happening. I'd love to see them shift up where these players are playing, and right as I say that, we get the Phoenix over on the A site. You can use a hot hand to slow those pushes down a lot more, because remember, once those smokes clear, that's kind of it, right? The Brimstone's not recovering. The flashes aren't getting you back in. So timing this team out and timing out these executes a little bit sooner with some counter util might be the way to go for him.
Early Hunter's Fury, and it almost pings out a player in mid. Good reaction off the jump for Baj. Jimmy still wants to take all alone. None of these entry duels, none of the early 1v1s are working out in the way of Oregon. Baj and Shawnee T, those two players have been going absolutely nuts thus far. Again, like I mentioned, more or less just a pug at this point. These guys don't really have any care in the world to how on earth they're actually going for a take. And look at this. Now, Washington, they're taking their time and actually executing over towards the B side. They have a lurker going on right now over towards A. A good thing for Washington, though, they do have a retake camera all the way down in short, but they need to get this information in now, and indeed they do. Well done by Shawnee T. Oregon, they're left all three on B. After, again, they have to go very reactionary off the rotations in the first place, but no way they don't get this audio output. Shawnee T, he ended up updrafting and barely outside the scope, at least the hearing vision of the Cypher, but Shawnee T, he's taking full real estate up top. Looking out for a couple of rotation frags. It's a 3v4. Still a little bit possible, but no ultis, and their util has already run down a little bit low.
Ah, they've made things so awkward by having that jet up there. If not just being in the position, it's taken time off the clock, and now the spike taking down folks back and forth. P-Man from the same position with two players there. Ben needs to back him up. WGA go up a fifth. UOE, they just look like they've been neutered a bit this game. It might have been the last one taking it out of them, but either way, they've got to pick up the pace.
I love the play from really everyone on the team at this point. I love the fact how I mentioned how maybe the smokes from P-Man might come in pretty huge. It did, at least in that round. In terms of a fake over towards B, it ended up reinforcing that idea for Oregon to stick around. Of course, the showstopper, you're going to see that ulti. You're going to see all of that oppression, all of that util being wasted on that B side, essentially. And they're going to think, yeah, I mean, this has to be a B take. So, again, Washington with another trick up their sleeve, taking up A. But in this round, at least, it's just Baj doing it all. But Shawnee T with the Blade Storm tries to get an entry right click. But Jimmy with a good reaction and a little bit of a whiff to help him out. That recon turret's going to get a whole lot of impact. Love to see that. But with the rotation coming on in and the revival in Washington, they're in the driver's seat again.
Yeah, Jenkins picked up one through the smoke as well. This just gets worse. Shawnee T's backing at it again. Oh, God. Yeah, maybe have your gun out, dude.
Come on.
Still only 1v4. And, you know, poor Michael the Cactus. He might just catch the whole Killjoy stack again after this.
Yeah, he would have to run into that util. And he does have a neural theft, but yeah, that would have to be expended for another round. A 1v3, and that information wouldn't exactly help him all too much. Has to just go on away. In Washington, they have a 6-0 start, already taken up their piece of the pie in terms of the half. This is really just extra credit going forward.
Yeah, and all right, we talked a little bit earlier about what UOE can do. We talked about possibly stopping the push, but before, or at least slowing down the plant so that those smokes clear out relatively quickly. With the Brimstone buffs, it is a little bit harder to do that. Alternately, they can pull out for a retake. It's something that we haven't really seen them do. Like you mentioned, so many of these early frags, these puggy frags, have been going to WGA, just running at UOE and having the better aim.
That goes there.
So big ground coming in back. We do have a buyback.
Oh, this is a nice
For the boys of Oregon.
There. Yes, this should do.
Looking at their setup, they were actually committing a triple A. Looking at their ultis at least. Not exactly a need to fight for ult orb either, so we're not going to see too much action over towards those areas. This is the first time that we're seeing a default from Washington, though.
Oh no, don't get too adventurous. Don't get too adventurous.
Oh,
Harambe with the scope down. Catches him with his pants on the floor. Now even more, though. P-Man will trade it out across the map. WGA, for once, though, they're at a player disadvantage. I'd love to see UOE hold strong. They're rotating the Omen over here, trying to make it into a 2-2 stack for these sites, getting the smoke down to make sure the push doesn't come in too fast as well. It's going to put WGA into a pretty awkward position.
This is their first man disadvantage off of initial interactions of the entire game thus far, so that's at least a big plus. Over onto A, though, this is where the Cypher util has always stayed. Again, I mentioned the potential for retake, especially with the cam getting a whole lot of information. It could be a little bit better in terms of positioning, but it does have a big panoramic view of the site in general. But this isn't going to be a retake. This has to just be the hold in general. Double players back site, one being U-Haul, one committed to the back of site. And Michael, he's actually going to hold off on the cam. He gets that information off the nade, and he wants to fight. But all that util is gone to flash as he goes down. But through the smoke, Harambe with a showstopper. Big nade 2, forces out P-Man to swing on. This might just be it. But Bob's going big. The 1-2. But it's Harambe with a big round, exploding to get Oregon back in this game.
Oh, right when UOE thought it was going to be an easy one, it gets ripped away from them. And that hurts. They would have loved to have 3 members come out of this one alive so that they could be buying one another and actually building their economy. But now it's going to be a force buy, or not a force buy, but they're investing pretty heavily into this one to try and make a dent into the economy of WGA at least. You can see the numbers are at least not at 8,000 anymore.
Yeah.
That's all you can. You can put that on the fridge, but you can't really take it to the bank until you secure it with one more. So for UOE, this is maybe the most important round they've had in the entire half to give them a shot at the comeback. And they're sending 3 members over to B. They've got the stack in the right place. But is WGA ready for this race in the corner?
Oh, that's beautiful from Jarrett. Not only that, but he gets all that information, has to run it back, ready and raring to go. Does he actually want to commit to it? He's going to go back. Again, the run it back would be very efficient in that position, but he would need something very safe. Not only that, but a crossfire back on site, but he doesn't exactly have that luxury. Instead, now double hookah still. Jared Frost still around the corner, knows exactly where the lockdown is. And the rest of the players, I mean, stuck in hookah, they have nothing to interact on. They just have to leave out, abandon the site. And Washington, they're looking for a clean take. 0 players detained. Spike will be able to go down. Nothing to retake just yet. But let's see what they can actually pull off. Jimmy with a 2K. 1 more player remaining on site. That's P-Man. And that is so clean from Oregon. Dory, you'll love to see that.
Oh, and it was right when they needed it. They pick up the round. They capitalize on the economy. And not only that, they did it in a really good way, right? They rotated in time. They got there. Yes, the Killjoy ultimate goes down. It doesn't catch anybody, but they delayed the spike plant after that because WGA were slow getting to it. And since they're not running any of these flashes, since they're running this heavy sentinel, this very slow composition, they're very reliant on that execute working, getting the spike down, getting the Killjoy utility set up, getting that Sage wall in, and then the site becomes a veritable fortress to actually try and retake into. But UOE stopped it before it got too far, before that retake got too difficult, and easily cleaned up afterwards. That's what I want to see out of them. And honestly, this half isn't really out of their hands yet.
No, not at all. They have reset potential in just about a round and a half, 2 rounds from now. So Washington still gonna stay on their toes. Again, this all started right when they ended up going off on the default. So again, they want to readjust just a little bit. There's hard potential, though, for the post plant. We do see the orbital strike back in the hands of Washington. But, Jimmy! Heating up in the last few rounds, and that one is just all too clean. Jared Frost again with that same long flash, but he doesn't commit for the first kill, or the second kill. He could have been able to do so, but he has a second flash for a reason. Gonna be able to take it back. Shawnee T somehow able to sneak his way into long. I didn't exactly see the pathing for that one, but it's just down to Jenga, the battle KJ, to fight on a 1v4, and he's walking right into the trap of A, as there's a whole lot of util ready and raring to go.
Yeah, this is like the last place you want to be. Trapwire. Oh, no.
Wonderful.
Gets caught in a camera, though. Yeah, you're going to get sprayed down every day of the week. Harambe is one to finish things off. UOE, where the hell did this come from? It's confidence from the players. It's the Phoenix looking to frag early up against a team that really relies on having all of that utility that they're looking to stack into these executes. They're finding the holes, they're finding their confidence, and they're finding their shots, honestly, more important than anything. For when what WGA was pugging them earlier, just running at them with stingers, they're showing us a little bit of gumption back, and I'm really curious how that actually translates into this round. It actually changes up where their Omen is, so they're not just content with where they are. They still want to be throwing a couple curveballs at WGA, and they're doing so at the right time. This 3-man stack is going to be perfectly timed for WGA's potential A take here.
Script has flipped a little bit. Oh, they're going to use an orbital off the take, but Shawnee T almost literally runs into it, and he tries to go blind in the smoke with a Blade Storm. Doesn't want to be safe, doesn't want to go insane, but Bosch gets himself a double kill off the Showstopper in the back, but watch out for the short flank. Jimmy ends up getting one, but Benny's ready for it. 2 players back towards the bathroom area. Again, it's almost unbelievable that you have those players in that optimal position, but Jarrett Frost watching the back, both players watching their 6s. Now it just comes down to Jenga, who does have at least the util on site to be able to hold off time, just pull off at least one of the nano swarms. Harambe with a Showstopper, not even gonna launch it. You just gotta take your chances. Jenga, however, through the blaze ball takes down one, and then with the second, you see the one on your screen, folks. That is as clutch as you can get.
Sweet revenge for Jenga on the 1v4 earlier. Right when Harambe took him down in the previous round, that's what they wanted to stop that reset from really coming in and biting him in the butt. WJ are still largely in charge of showing their dominance over this half. They've got some more rounds to get through, though, and this is the real teller for who gets the momentum. Is WJ really able to strike back with a nice set of 2 in a row, or can UOE manage to re-pick up some of their momentum? They've shifted over to a 3-man B, 2-man on A site. I think WGA are set up for a standard in their own right. Confidence from Jimmy, maybe a little bit overly so, though. You don't have the flashes to get yourself in there like your Phoenix does. Lends them into 1 pick now is still just a little bit of poking and prodding going around. There's not likely to be a rotation here too early from UOE. They're confident in their 2-2 stack on either of these respective sites. My question is, when's the go button really come in here for WGA? How are you countering this full execute? It took all 5 players to do it in these past rounds, and you're doing it with potentially 2, and they're answering that by going with the rotate. The Phoenix is pushed up behind. They've got the information. They know it's an A take. And oh boy, WGA might just be in for the round of their lives.
It's going to be a big one. Could see some isolated interaction, though. You do have the revive for the post plan after, but Harambe going to be able to take down Bosch in a very inopportune position. Again, on top of that wall. Exactly. Be able to get that heal up, so that's a little bit of potential for the future. Still a 4-on-4 though. Good hold in general. They do have the full smoke setup, but again, they just want a hard fight over towards the U-Haul area. Still 2 players laying around the back side. Shawnee T, big start. Still 2 players in the back, both grouped up around U-Haul. Alarm bot in the front though. Tilly's gonna give up a little bit of information, but Jarrett, you have to be ready for that. Why do you have your knife out going in the back? Oh, so much potential there, Doran. You hate to see it. Still now a 2-on-4. Harambe now the last person remaining as Michael goes down to Baj. And not only that, but Shawnee T taking his time, baiting out with a smoke. And deep Molly drives out the position. Baj is somehow the one to get the frag. And just like that, that's the round back for Washington. So I mentioned the potential for the extra credit. Things were looking good for Oregon. They were able to buy no matter what for the rest of the half, but Washington, through really, again, yet another early entry pick. A good scattered take in general, and Oregon getting caught a little bit off guard.
Yeah, there's a stark difference, though, from this to what we were looking at the beginning of the game, where WG was just running around, pugging away kills. Early on in that round, Jimmy gave 1 away, and Yowie still managed to make it pretty competitive. They had a good read over on the A site. I think had the Phoenix not gotten down on the flank with the knife out, we're looking at a completely different round. But are they ready for this, operator? Don't give him the collat. Instead, take him down. Benny with 1 more of their own. WJ with the most confident beak I've seen in a while.
Oh, Jarrett, yes, sir. Look at this position. Nobody's checking.
Oh, my God.
Nobody at all. He has so much information. Let's see it happen. He can be able to get 1, gets himself 2. Shawnee T in such a good off angle, but that ends up leaving only 1. Oh, you got to feel for him. Kicking himself, although he was able to get 2. The rest of UOE, they could have been able to play around that, maybe a little bit less aggression. Just try to go for the hard retake and see the results of that little flank on, though. The trick of discipline is hot, but even then, Shawnee T gets the last frag in. Washington with a very successful half. That's 9-3, Door.
I was a believer in the flank, Gus, but no longer. And now we shift over, right? We said WGA's composition, it can just sit here on the defense for as long as it wants. You're running that double sentinel. It's one of the things that enables you to run that Brimstone. You don't really need the global capacity of the Omen when you have a Killjoy to lock down a site. When you have a Sage to lock down a site, you can use the smokes on one site respectively. And right now, we're seeing the effect of that. Brimstone actually shifting over to the B side. I'm curious who ends up playing the quick rotate here, right? Who's that third player that's going back and forth from site to site? Because right now it reads like the Brim's doing it. They'll get early information, whether it be from the Sage, whether it be from the Killjoy, and try to play with the smokes off that. They might even go for a long peek here. They're not going to find anything though, because UOE are over on the A site, ready to run straight at this defense.
Enemy tag.
Just a quick and fast one. Whole lot of util on site. The alarm bot's not going to be able to do all too much, but off the U-Haul hold, Jenga is able to get one, but more importantly, it was Shawnee T to be the anchor. He goes down right after. No trade back. This is a big chance for UOE going forward. Benny. We haven't seen too much from this battle Sage, but he's on the front line of the interaction. Baj now here trying to help out. What a tight angle. Baj. Huge frag. P-Man 2 capitalizing off the aggression of Harambe. Still 2v2. Relatively even too. You have two players lit on the server, and P-Man, he's going to take the interaction against Kona for Jimmy, though. He wastes his only shock dart in an attempt to predict, but the recon bullet catches up to with the right click. One bullet, a gust of wind would do it. And there you go, Jimmy. 1v2 in the same position as the KJ earlier, and that's going to drag UOE to a whole lot of momentum forward.
And with still over 100 armor and health combined, you said it, that's going to drag them forward. We needed a pistol round. The last thing you want to do was go into the second half with WGA sitting on top of double digits. You're looking good now. I love that they're buying up into this. I know the defense probably not going to be doing too much. Mixed of Stingers and Spectres. We're still not sure where people will land on that. But the one thing I want to see out of them is a little bit of confidence in these angles, because they're running straight into 3 out of hookah here. Are they ready for this brigade?
Remy with the stimmy. Now it's Bosch going out with a couple of right clicks. Corner 4 completely caught off guard. And not only that, but the teleporter pinch. Well, at a boy. And like I mentioned before, Washington, they have a couple of cheesy strats. They have a couple of tricks up their sleeve. And indeed, it's successful for now. Benny has to take on at least the lurker in the back of B. It's really going to come down to Jimmy and the timing on his rotation in. Benny, he's safe in elbow, still has a teammate in long, but the A site is completely empty. You'll love to see that pathing as Harambe made it in completely clean. And now we're going to be able to see a spike plant and a 2v2 post plant.
One of the most abnormal rotates I've seen in my entire life. But hey, man, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. We get him back there eventually. And Harambe gets to take a pretty aggressive position, maybe catching off this Sage all the way back into spawn. Oh my lord, we're going on quite the adventure here.
Oh boy. Around the world we go. Harambe ready for it. Doesn't matter the heal. Not only that, but the satchel is going to delay a little bit more time too. Going to be able to get one. Still Jenga around the corner with a trade back. Low on HP. Jimmy has to go all the way back. Has the spike in a pretty tricky position, but has to have the dart right. Does he have the lineup? Does Jenga have the time? Going to be able to get it to half, but not going to stick off. He wanted to stick around, but he wasn't going to fight Jimmy in the first place. Pros don't fake, folks, but this time it doesn't work out in his favor. So right as we thought UOE was about to go down, maybe just a little bit, maybe just a little bit of a crack in the armor, Washington still maintain things relatively clean. But the most important thing here, Door, is going to be the lack of a bonus. So these guys, they have hard reset potential, the same as their opponents now. It just becomes this weird position where, yes, you did end up winning out the first 2 rounds, but it's a hard detriment to them, where the momentum doesn't really count going forward if they just lose out this round.
Yeah, it's bittersweet, and that's one of the things about buying up those Spectres. It's a pretty significant financial investment comparatively to Stingers, which might offer you a little something better in the 3rd round. You can see now it's pretty piecemeal for UOE. A couple of submachine guns, a couple of rifles proper. They're definitely not at an advantage heading into this. They've got to get a good push going in here. And they've got 4 members lined up right outside B. Sage has used her wall. Brimstone, I believe that's the first smoke we've seen come down for WGA. So there's still plenty of util to try and stop this push. So it's up to UOE to find the frags on the back end of it.
Slow and steady. Good wall over towards long, but it's really just to cover up that long rotation if Benny was holding up close. Instead, that is just delaying time. Speaking of delaying time, one-way smoke and hookah. The wall deteriorates. That was placed down early. That recon dart is not going to do all too much. Not in a very optimal position, and Harambe wants to take advantage. Stimmy on the ground in tin can. P-Man still gets a kill back. Shawnee T with a return frag. So Michael the Cactus comes out with none other than a Spectre. Still gets himself to, has to pull out the sidearm. And WGA still with the very important initial frags, but it was just pure chaos at the end of things for UOE. That recon dart could have been everything for him, but it ends up hitting the wall for it. Again, it's just a very small thing. So many other things ended up going wrong in that round, but you still have to look at the fact that WGA, they had the hard retake potential and they were there right at the right time.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great read by WGA, but like you said, that recon dart could have been the difference, right? That's the difference between Badge going down with the ult being used and dying without getting to really utilize the most out of it. And now we're stuck in one more round. UOE got the reset like we were talking about. Their economy not in a great place. They're not willing to give up, though. They've committed to at least Stingers in this round and heading on to the A site. Fortunately, that wasn't actually heard. The Boombot will be, though, as they pull the raise back over towards the A site. This isn't a full commit by UAE. We could still see a rotate yet.
Joke's over. You're dead.
Okay, run it back. That immediately goes down. Unfortunate. Oh, there you go. Orbital in a perfect spot. Shawnee T floating in with a Judge and Jarrett. Well, he's going skeet shooting at this point like a clay pigeon. He takes down Shawnee, but with that molly and the wall essentially going kaput, he has almost no potential for a little bit of heal going forward, so that's very unfortunate. So low on HP is Harambe and himself, and P-Man takes full advantage with the Spectre. Jarrett needs to go big and trying to complement Jimmy
flank
with the flashes, but there you go. You mentioned the flank, and not only that, the flank is perfect for a revive. It's a good draw away of attention too, but Shawnee T!
Jimmy!
What the? Jimmy gets the kill back in U-Haul. Shawnee T was looking for some cheesiness, and it just doesn't matter. What on earth just happened?
Jimmy's been ridiculously clutch in the second half. We go to the pistol round. 1v2. We go into there, finding 3 at the end of the round. This Sova has been so important to them being able to close these out, even if it's close, What UAE managed to do there, though, reset WGA. Send their economy back down to nothing. It is piecemeal at best. This could be an easy one more round for them, but they do need to be careful. There's some dangerous players here on WGA, and they're all lurking in this hookah. This is exactly where we saw them set up in round 2. It is exactly what turned round 2 into not the greatest round for UOE prior. They have to be expecting something cheesy.
Right. They still ended up getting that conversion, but again, it's just the effects of the eco rounds in general, where teams, they just want to do it all individually potentially, but still drag out a team effort. That's so unfortunate. Harambe well placed. Not Hunter. Fury. Jimmy floating gets the info, and Michael gets the kill back onto P-Man. Shawnee T would have to go big, but he gets caught off by the trip. Harambe doing it all alone, though, clearing out back. Stat padding a bit. Shawnee T now in a 1v5. Clean. To Jimmy. Yeah, let's see at least a little bit of a flash of at least some success, but Shawnee's still a whole lot more to do. Big thing for him, though, is that he ended up getting full armor going into this round, so maybe a little bit of a steep investment, but let's see what this man can actually try to pull off. This position could be big for the exit, but he's going for the updraft on top of the smoke. That reveals his position entirely, and again, that's very unfortunate. Again, that's I think that's just one thing that we've seen a little bit too much from Shawnee T, where he's playing that same stereotypical Jet, where you try to do it all. You try to go for the flashy frags, almost like a Wardell type style. And in this case, he's almost doing it at very inopportune times. I love the clips that we've seen from Shawnee T thus far in this game, but it's starting to become a little bit of a detriment to his team's economy. Potentially, we could see it start to maybe accumulate a little bit later, but he does have a chance back into this next round to try to at least compensate himself. He does have the Phantom back, and really the rest of his team behind him, as he's actually doubled up in B, tripled up actually up towards B, and WGA might be a little bit more separated than expected.
This defensive setup is far from ready for this. They've already popped one of the nano swarms. That'll be the second. And they're not sending any members over from B. Finally, the 3-man comes in, but it's going to be too late here, Gus. This A take is looking real good for UOE.
Showstopper again. Harambe searching for a couple of bodies. Searching for some pixels. Bosh, same thing. Showstopper for Showstopper. One of them successful. And he goes towards the side of WGA. Now it's a 2-on-2. Jimmy does take one back, but Jarrett realizes he can just go all the way back. Full rotation from Washington and Oregon. They're capitalizing in a perfect spot, but watch out for long, though. They do have to take off that wall, but okay, Jarrett. 64 HP. He wants to drive on in with a run it back, but because of that, it does get his HP back. But again, the information is going to be the most important part. The stim, though, is huge. Jimmy, the damage. Jimmy does it again.
How many? He can't keep getting away with it, Gus.
He can't keep getting away with it. The battle Sova of Jimmy every single time. This guy has ice in his veins. The clutch gene is there, Door.
Oh my god, Jimmy's on another level in these final rounds. His brain just turns up to 11, and it's brought UE back in this. That's 3 rounds in a row. It's 1 round in the entirety of this half so far for WGA. They're back on, just not the nicest buy, to say the least. You mentioned Shawnee T getting aggressive, but right now it feels like this team, the rotations have been slower. The play's been slower. The confidence hasn't quite been there by the players that are usually backing up Shawnee T. It's a little bit all over the place. They're going to need some clutch plays, and right now they've got at least clutch information. And the fact that they've pushed this Brimstone up into Hookah. The Jets coming back around, forced off this A site, forced out of this U-Haul corner, and they still manage to hold it with one alive. Call me Jenga. The one piece holding this hold together.
No way. Again, he takes on so much damage from the cage. Keep saying the word unfortunate, but that's exactly what that was. Super unfortunate. Gonna be able to maybe tank on for potentially a second pump, but Benny could be able to get a frag back with the Bucky. Oh, okay. P-Man. Stinger nerf, not exactly working on his favorite today, but Benny, this is huge save potential. Potentially an exit or two.
And they've turned it into a signature weapon. It's the pea shooter. Doesn't really do much from range.
P-Man with the pea shooter.
Benny, let's not give up on Benny. No, let's definitely not give up on Benny. Oh, time's a real issue here, though. You can't go for it. Maybe go for one exit. Can't even get out. Answer is no, Michael. Just as cold as the rest of his teammates. 1 away from tying up the score. Gus, what on earth is this game?
Hey, that's what you like to see. Some spunk to both of these sides. Some passion. WGA, surely with a great showcase of skill in the first half. And now the University of Oregon side that you gassed up in the pre-game, finally showing off at least their individual prowess, specifically in Jimmy and Harambe. 21 and 18 kills respectively, and oh boy, I can't wait to see more, at least out of this squad, because this might just start to get a little bit tricky in terms of aggression. Double duelist holding bathroom, but they're fighting orb at this point. Smoke up mid sides. Gonna cover up a little bit of space from the Heaven Cross, but Shawnee T ready for Jared at least. Hunter's Fury goes out. At least gonna pressure up a little bit, but Harambe takes down Bosch. 4-on-4 now, Door.
Harambe and Jimmy have been going insane, but this operator might just be the gut check that WGA need. Just the one thing to keep Yoe in line, say, hey, we still got something in the tank. Shawnee T doesn't have to be just running at you to be scary. Now WGA, though, are honestly completely starved for information until they see actual players. And with Shawnee T being pushed off the angle down to 15 HP and down a man now as well, things are just getting even worse. This operator has to do so much, Gus. But Sean wants nothing to do with this push. Everybody pushing onto the site. There's the shot. They found the operator. It's Konafor. Take it down. P-Man with one more. 2v3 now. Sage does have the res if they can reach that dead jet, but it's really up to P-Man here in the corner. Down to one man left. It's Harambe to clean up the round. 10-10. We're all even. Holy cow.
That's the rating that I give this game in general, a perfect 10. Both of these teams are really pulling it off, man. I'm actually like, hey man, I said that earlier. I'm here acting as a scout. I'm here trying to see who's actually starting to step up. WGA, they have their players that can at least hold their own in terms of their unfragged potential, 1v1s. But UOE,
Right here.
these takes at least have been pretty big. But again, it comes down to not exactly what I mentioned before with maybe organized takes, something of the sorts. Washington, they're the ones now losing out on the entry duels, and they're the ones pushing it out a little bit more. Not really acting too conservative, not too disciplined. But this time, this is what you like to see. More players in the back of sight, crossfire instead. This could just work out in their favor. Again, it is the eco, but Shawnee T in the back with the Blade Storm and the crossfire going into sight. This could be massive.
Yeah, teleport's not an option here. The spike is in hookah. 3 members over. What a shot by Jimmy. Clutch when they need it. Kona 4 trades out one more. Benny with just the bucket. Able to hold their ground for just a moment. Allows the rotate to come in just after spike plant. It's going to be really tough to play into this with this utility being able to throw down on top of the spike. Both the Omen and Jimmy alive. I feel like, honestly, Jimmy being alive is the most important thing here. Forget whatever agents are up. This Sova is alive, and I'd be scared.
Jimmy watching the cross, but not able to get the frag back. Still a whole lot of info. They do have the turret up. They could be able to at least paying out the attention from Jimmy going in. Double long hold, no ultis to really worry about. That's a beautiful recon dart, though. This is going to go right in front, and Baj has to force out the situation. Low on time. It's a great post plan, too. I was about to say, I mean, Jimmy, if he did have the ultimate, that round would have been completely done and dusted. Hunter's Fury over towards long. That's as light as you can get. But still, the guys of Oregon, they brought it all the way back door, 11-10. But it was Washington still in that last round to still show a little bit of fight. They were on the eco, but I think economic damage can essentially be thrown out the window because now Oregon, they can buy for the rest of this game.
Yeah, Washington, I don't know if that's exactly the same story for them. Their economy is looking a little bit rough. And
oh, yeah.
With potentially up to what? Some like 4 or 5. We're doing caster math right now. Rounds left to go in this game at a maximum. Yeah, math mid-game. Nobody's strong suit. But WGA could still be reset here, and it could be really painful if it sends UOE onto a 13th with just a force buy. Not where you want to be.
Ooh, Jimmy just gets exposed by Baj. Wonderfully done. Still Harambe laying around. It could be that same situation that we saw earlier. In terms of just a hard lurk. That B site, though, a lot of noise does need to be made. It's going to help them out. The battle for the orb is won by the University of Oregon. Now Jarrett, he has a whole lot of tick potential in terms of that run it back, but a triple hold in the back of sight. Trying to see what the util is like for the rest of their players. Shaman T, not all that much. Not exactly too important. Just wanted to pay attention to P-Man, though. Could go massive. There you go. That Molly. None of these players can trade out. Such perfect timing on that. Not only that, but the orbital ready and rare to go. And it's going to hit at a perfect spot. Michael the Cactus, he's isolated. He does have the cages up. This man can run, and indeed he does. The rotation goes in on time. Michael the Cactus still here trying to help, and the lockdown is wonderfully placed. None of these players can fight it. 15 seconds left on the clock, and University of Oregon, they have a lot of money to work with. They could have at least tried to fight it, but they're going to concede the round. 9 players surviving this round door.
What a miserable way to lose your potentially game point round. And Bai's going to add insult to injury. Rebel assault in the wound with one onto Harambe. That keeps WJ in this one economically as well, which now we're at that point where everything is basically moot. We're heading into match point. No matter what, with both of these teams on a full buy, it is knuckles to knuckles. And right now, it feels like it's the battle of UOE finding that confidence, utilizing those flashes and that more aggressive composition, versus WGA figuring out how to time out these rounds, force them to play a little bit slower with the Sage, with the Killjoy, with the Brimstone. They are now lacking that lockdown, though, which was so key in the last round. So they're going to have to find an early frag, whether it be from their respective Rays, who's gotten them a lot of these early frags, or whether it be coming from the Jet, who also has been doing a fantastic job. They need an entry frag somewhere, and it's P-Man to give it to him.
P-Man, great spot. Not only that, but he was doubled up with Shawnee T in the same spots. Old Tor being taken back over towards Bathroom 2. That could affect the next 2 rounds. In terms of Harambe's effectiveness. Still the early pick. Very much massive. And not only that, but I like this coming in from Washington. Before, they were very much reactionary in terms of the rotations. Any single contact that they would get, they would just boot on out. They still maintain the 2-person hold on site, and now they could just vibe out and wait for it to go down. Alarm bot goes up. Jenga needs this kill, and indeed he gets it. With the alarm bot still going off, the nano swarms could be pulled off. But Bosch needs to get this, and indeed he does. Wonderfully done by Bosch, but it's not well timed. Spike is still down, still potential for the 2v5. Michael the Cactus still on up. Despot at least one going to be able to take down Johnny T. Still one making his way out of U-Haul. Spike is getting defused. It's about to go all the way low. It's at half. Baj gets 3 all around. And just like that, Washington, just as things looked bleak, they have themselves map point.
This match having hit its stride. This is what I expected to see when we came in. I didn't expect UOE to get a little pug stomped in the beginning for the first 6 rounds or so and then realize, oh yeah, we have to play some Valorant. No, this back and forth is what I wanted. And right now, WGA are giving it to us. However, UOE, there's one thing we should be focusing on. It's where this operator goes. It's the trump card. Shawnee's doing the exact same thing. Both teams trying to catch one another off guard. If either of these guys finds a pick, it could be game-changing. Remember, there's a rest of the series to go. No matter who takes this map, no matter by how little, it still puts 1 whole point up on the board that could change the course of the series.
Not only is it a battle for bathroom, battle for the ulti. They might be able to get one back, at least for the future of this round, but they're actually not going to risk sound input for the ult orb instead. They just want to go out essentially dry. So in we go. 3 players here around the A site. Cage up. Jared Frost goes down to Bosch. Doesn't matter about the flash. And Bosch still holding it down on his own. Bosch! For Bosch! And that just might be the dagger for the map. 1 player remaining. A whole minute left. But this might just be it for Washington. A valiant effort, to say the least, from Oregon. But it's Bosch to come up big.
Harambe, where are you going, bud?
I mean, take things pick by
pick. Things are
pick.
just not look. Yeah, exactly. This is bullet by bullet, click by click. I mean, when you put it that way, it's only 5 clicks away from winning the game. But
right. Doesn't sound that hard, right? Forehead.
It's only
Okay,
5
actually. 1 pick. Ult orb still in. Could be able to do some damage. So he gets this for first pick. He goes back for ult orb. Could potentially get showstopper. But 18 seconds left. No way. No time. Has to commit. But he's still going to go for it. He's going to open things up with a showstopper. Players can run. He has no time. Launches it out. And it falls short. And Harambe goes down to the right clicks. Just like that. Washington, they take the map of blind.
Alright, but by the hair on their chinny chin, guys. They almost got the reverse beep, dude. It was not looking pretty. Baj kept them afloat 30 and 18. How many triples? 6 first bloods for this one man. Right? Like, don't get me wrong. The team did all right. But when rubber hit the road, when we saw Oregon start coming back into it, there was only one man pumping air into this team's lungs.
It was one man. It was Baj. 30 bomb. Yeah, it was a 24-round game, but all of the action more or less came on into the second half, and Baj still heavily impactful throughout really the entire game. Still very much consistently fragging, taking his team forward. Really, the entire team still able to contribute in a sense. But definitely MVP map 1 has to be the boy Baj, especially with the multi-frag at the end of things. But folks, we aren't done just yet. We have Split actually here for CF1. A little bit of a rarity, but it will be very much a fun time. We'll see you guys in just a little bit for the map of Split.
am I going now? Just falling over dreams. Now I'm just so far gone, this isn't what it seems. Taking me so damn long, it's fading from belief. I need to slow this down, it's burning from beneath.
Come break this line, this won't tomorrow dies. Holding on for what is worth my life. And now inside, I'll make it up the vine. Find my way to giants in the sky. Tonight it comes to life.
Welcome on back, folks, to Conference 1, and we have a spicy game actually kicking off here. I mean, 13-11, all 24 rounds. That's what you like to see, folks. My name is Upmine, joined here by Door and the University of Oregon and the University of Washington. Who knew that these guys could give us a banger game?
Me. I did.
You.
I said it
Not
before.
me.
I said it before. I
you.
knew. I've seen these guys. I've seen them do it before. It goes this long. Every single time. But sorry, I catch my breath. That last game, I was still losing it. But I mean, we could probably expect the same exact thing on Split. Although, I will say this: I don't expect it to be as close because of how the big band went, and the fact that, I mean, most of the time when a game ends up going to Split, it usually only is because one of the teams wanted it to go to Split. And whether that was because, right? Let's look over the pick bands real quick.
In a sense, both teams would like Split purely because of the bands one. I mean, you saw Ascent and Icebox go down. Icebox, it's definitely a cheesy map in the collegiate scene. More teams are starting to get very much used to it. I think more professional teams, we're seeing more Envy, 100 Thieves, Immortals, but at least in collegiate, don't really know which teams are starting to actually formulate that into their map pool, so I'm actually not surprised to see that getting banned. So Split is just the good old classic. It's what every team has in their back pocket at this point in terms of collegiate, especially from at least what I saw early on. So not exactly a surprise, but Split, the meta has been changing recently.
Yeah, and it makes it pretty likely that we see something along the lines, pretty powerful breach map, other off-meta picks. I mean, the We Did is just... Can we call it the Wadid? Yeah, are we allowed to?
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like at this point he can have that one whole agent to himself.
Yeah, absolutely. Viper, folks. Viper is what we're talking about. I mean, yeah, we did. You could talk about Poach potentially, but yeah, no, definitely we did's antics on Split with the character of Viper could be a little bit of a factor going forward, but you mentioned the Breach door. We are going to see maybe the Breach back onto Jarrett Frost. He's going to actually be giving the duelist role back over towards Jimmy. That's going to be a fun one. But now at this point, we are seeing double duelists. It's the same thing. Shawnee T on Jet, Baj going back on the Raze. And you do have the double Sentinel again, but Door, we are utterly disappointed. No Viper.
Wait. Badge?
Oh,
Badge?
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 Ooh. No,
No chance in hell, dude.
Badge went huge on Raze. Best player in the server.
Yeah, I mean, in every way, shape, and form, best player in the server. I like the double Sentinel here, too. I think it works out. You've got the closed space. This is traditionally a map that I like seeing Sage on above others. It's a map where Sage has been picked a lot of times, a lot of ways. Those slow orbs are particularly powerful, though, because there's just not any open space to get around them. They are almost, in effect, a form of hard CC, so it's going to make it a lot more difficult for these teams to push in. And when UOE's strong side really was the attacking side, it's no surprise to me to see that they're ready to lock it back in.
Let's see it go down, folks. The map of Splits about to go live between Washington and Oregon, and well, again, I'm looking forward to seeing how the KJ and the potentially the Sage would work out. One team that I have been studying a little bit more has been Sentinels. They tend to actually go for the Cypher Lurk on the attack in terms of Dapper. But for this one, we are seeing the KJ not too efficient in terms of hard lurking potential. We're going to see that more over towards the A side most likely, but again, just no idea what the playstyles are going to be like, but I'm very much excited to see how the defensive defaults are going to kind of formulate, because that Sage can be very pliable. It can be played really anywhere on this map. There are set walls and there are a couple of cheeky positions where we could see it. I think the classic, of course, for the Sage would be playing over towards mid to place a wall very early on. But we've been seeing a lot of teams going for the long wall down on A and just having one early on over towards the B side to hold off a B main take. But this time we are seeing the Sage playing up solo heaven, KJ playing up with all that util over towards the A site, and it's triple hold crossfire as UOE, they're about to run into it as we are now live with map number 2.
Oh, this is the last place they want to be in round number 1. 3 members, they're getting sprayed out from every single direction. The Killjoy is still there on site. Jenga catches them off guard, looking for a little bit more value. As the brakes have been applied, the handle has been pulled, and this push from UOE has been completely shut down. Look at those health bars. They've barely got 2 members worth of health. In fact, I don't even think they have that, Gus.
Right, the rotation potential is still very much possible, but oh man, they covered it all. Look at the alarm bump position, but they hear it out. But with that going down, they at least have the information. Benny, time to go huge. People in chats, we're starting to pump him up. Let's see if he can pop up. But no, that's the caster's curse, isn't it?
Yeah, you shouldn't have talked about him. Oh, but P-Man, he's still there. The P-Shooter, the all-powerful. That's exactly what it stands for when it's in his hands. WGA, they've still got it. Just 2 bullets ends this entire thing to the leg, chest, anywhere. You just breathe on these guys, and they're going down. Harambe's the first one. And Michael, very likely not long for life in his own right.
No, but he does at least get the spike down. That's a little bit more cash on his side, but WGA. What a wake up from them. I mean, good initial hold over towards the A side, a whole lot of damage, especially off the util early on, and just 3-man stack in general. That's a little bit rarer for the A side hold, but it is what it is. Ended up working, and they completely abandoned the heaven side. That, to me, Door, was probably the best thing that Washington could pull in that route. You just let the other team take up that control. They were already playing retake. They had a player over towards screen, still watching over that rotation. They had double over towards site, one playing back elbow, one playing back spike in general. But even then, the boys of UOE, they still had an inkling of a chance going forward, but it came down to good old P-Man, the ghost with a ghost. In this round, as a Spectre, he's playing cheeky here, Door. He can play Crossfire, whole lot of info. He's behind the smoke, and again, with this being pulled out so early on, I would doubt that they just check this angle off the first place. It's called a one and done for a reason, but Could it be more? Could he get the extra credit? Big flash. There goes in the breach. Double flash. It comes to man. Gonna be able to get one. Make it two. Yes, indeed. He makes it two. And Shawnee T is there for the crossfire. Shawnee T. Oh, floating on in. Judge, jury, executioner. Washington. They're having a ball.
Oh, it's like a good horror movie. You know exactly what's gonna happen. You can see it. Yeah, you can hear the Jaws theme playing in the back of my head. Like, we all knew it was gonna happen. That doesn't make it any less terrifying when it does, man. That early. I gotta say, that's, I don't want to say disrespectful, but to break it out second
it was
round.
So
break it out second round. That's mean, dude. That's mean.
That was rude.
He's playing it. He's not the same position, but oh my god.
No, it's a little bit more. Oh no, we talk about disrespectful. This is just ridiculous. P-Man trying to put them in their graves. He's up in front. In it goes the take off the spectrum. Oh, this guy is nuts, dude. Stop it, man.
It's not fair.
P-Man with a pea shooter, like you mentioned earlier. He's able to get himself 4.
Oh. Okay, well, shut up.
Okay, I'm sorry. Hey, okay, I'm gonna calm down then. You take this.
Jarrett. All right. One more. Nope. He's got it. What the hell was that round? And wait, UOE, did they force into the second round? They did. Oh my god. So that actually did a ton of economic damage.
Well, yeah. Them. Well, yeah, they did. I mean, it did just come down to the upgraded pistols, but their economy would still be pretty weak for that third round anyways. You know, definitely off of what was their initial take. But we're still seeing Washington with a little bit extra of a bonus. Like, we talk about the bonus potential. This one is way more brutal. I mean, you still even have double Phantom at this point.
We're 3 rounds in and P-Man has 9 kills. This is the weirdest game of Valorant I've seen in my entire life. And Badge is in a similar position now. How many cheese angles can they find on this map, dude?
So many. I mean, that's the nature of split on the defensive side. That's why people say at least that this map is still tipping towards the defensive side. We're seeing a lot of changes, but Shawnee T. I mean, we talked about cheese, dude. Holy crap. We saw the angle from Shawnee T earlier. He was playing wall crossfire with Benny, and that thing hadn't gone down yet. Just a singular person on the lurk. Shawnee T there with a judge still holding it down. Early on, the early picks lead on to a 3v5, but dash out by Shawnee. Harambe not able to capitalize, and not only that, but the TP able to get a little bit more information. Benny alone over on B Heaven, but that's not too much to freak out about. They already know for a fact that there's still a couple players over towards that A area. Alarm bot goes off, and Bosch, oh my! Perfect timing with the alarm bot. Now it's a one-on-one. Shawnee T around the corner with a judge. Still now 2v3 for the rest of this one, but with 15 seconds left, no satchel. Harambe has no time. They need to save this one out. Jenga, he's been playing this position really the entire game. No, Jenga, go for the spike.
I think. Okay. If the aim was there, we wouldn't be roasting him. But
no. I'm not roasting him. I'm just saying, go for the guy planting the spike. You know, I mean,
he stopped the plant. Oh, I mean, I guess the plant stopped itself, but still counts. He didn't choke it. He didn't choke it, Gus.
Well,
he didn't choke it.
Yeah. I think that. Well, that's definitely the important part. Like too soon, but
holy. God, look at this economy they've built up, though. They've pulled off the prolific double bonus, right? They've turned a round 1 win, round 2 bye, into magically being 4-round wins. And it turns into this operator, which Shawnee T doesn't get to fully utilize, but it's still scary.
But even then, just a little bit of information. Shawnee T, again, that could have definitely helped this team going forward, just off the peak. But Jimmy, love this. Dashing on in. Sound was heard off the turret, but Jenga a little bit faster off the click. Jimmy does end up going down 4v5. Last time it was Shawnee T playing this position. Baj, very similar, this time with a couple of blast packs to potentially help him to get out of here. But okay. point blank. Still waiting up. Shawnee T able to get one now. In comes Bodge. Gonna be able to get one, make it two. No, but the spray doesn't hit. Shawnee T so good on that op right now.
It's good to see him finally come alive. I feel like we saw Shawnee T with the operator a fair bit last game. It wasn't necessarily an underperformance so much as it was we didn't really get to see it utilized all that much. Whoa. Now going to town. Can he pick up one more is a big question. Flick, not quite.
30 seconds
Close
left.
but no cigar. He's away though, and Benny is there to help.
Wow.
Attaboy, Benny.
What a homie.
My man. One less body going down too. No, Shawnee T going into a very, very crucial round. Has the Blade Storm ready and raring to go, but more importantly, you have almost the entirety of Oregon with their ultis. It's going to come down to Jimmy, though, potentially with the rest of this team to try to fight Orb down in B main. But with the A site being wide open, we have potential for Aj to get back. At least the showstopper, have that double duelist knockdown that we love to see. But with the 5-0 start once again, you can't really doubt the boys of Oregon, right? Well, I mean, we literally saw it before. I think the stakes are a little bit different, though. Split isn't exactly a map where we see just these instant comebacks on the attacking side. I mean, you need... If we thought that earlier there was a lot of momentum, I mean, you need an astronomical amount of advantage to try to get back into this one. But this one might bring things back. Rolling Thunder, ready and raring to go. Things are about to get hot.
This push gets tricky for them. They're going to try and check every single one of these corners before going in. They're going to pay for it, moving a little bit too slowly. P-Man gets one and now being held off. The Jets the next one in. The aim is perfect from P-Man. Even when he's not chasing him out, he just clicks heads, Gus.
Unreal. Unfreaking real. Harambe now 1v5 goes down to Baj. How many times are we going to see 4Ks, man? I just want to see an ace for this guy. But I mentioned the Rolling Thunder. Dude, full ultis in that round. Buy round for UOE. I mean, you got to pull out at least one of them. At least something back. And there's nothing better than making space with that Rolling Thunder. You get your smokes up in heaven. And that's an easy take. That's at least an easy spike plant, but still nothing of the sort, Dory. I mean, Oregon definitely has to be kicking themselves.
Yeah, the rainy day fun just... it's about time we crack it open, sending it around. I will say 6-0 was the scoreline that we started to see UOE bring it back on last time. It doesn't quite seem the same here on Split. You mentioned just how tough it is to turn it around from the attacking side. He's having a good time, man. Flashed off the angle. Still doesn't go down. UOE 3 members strong. Still with 5 ultimates, though, Gus. They haven't really made a concerted push here. There's the first one. It's going to be the showstopper. But in a 3v5 round, still gets shut down by Shawnee.
Okay, here we go. Let's go, Jimmy. 1, 2, 3 with the Blade Storm. I mean, this guy is so clean anyways. I just gotta gas him up. He has been able to heat up thus far, but he's finally playing aimbots. He's in the firing range, and he gets himself 3 to open up the round. So many players actually flanking on in, but this time, P-Man again, man. 2K from P-Man to put the dagger in the round. Oregon, again, they were off a little bit of an eco. A half buy even. But Washington, man. I mean, just those early picks from Shawnee T. Not exactly the best coverage of Heaven, though. They still had one over towards that area. If I'm not mistaken, it was Baj getting all that sound in. Shawnee T wasn't able to get at least the pick needed onto Jimmy. But overall, Dor, I mean, just a successful round from Washington, of course, off the dub. But Jimmy, finally, a glimpse of what he's all about.
Yeah, honestly, I was feeling pretty good after the spike went down, but it looks like, for the first time in this entire series, it felt like the nerves really got to UOE there. The post-plant setup was not good. They were both watching the same angle, trying to cover one another. Meanwhile, one of them didn't really have the best weapon. The operator's all out in the open, gets shot without even so much as a response from the breach. And now you're paying the price for it in this upcoming round. Shawnee is more confident than he has any right to be, but my God, you've earned it at this point.
Oh, man. First pick, too. Has Blade Storm. Oh, my God. In he goes again. I mentioned earlier that this was very much a detriment when Shawnee does get a little bit more confident, but this time it doesn't really matter all too much as Baj is here. He gets one back with a showstopper. Bacona 4 with a return frag back. Oh, no. Is that the blank? Oh, indeed it is. Attaboy, P-Man. What just happened?
One enemy remaining.
What just happened? He gets a little bit he gets a little bit disoriented. He had to juggle the situation.
He's not used to pushing angles. He's used to just holding them and spraying down 4 people. It's not the same.
Yeah, that might be it. 15 kills from him. So I can't really argue.
Yeah, can we criticize? I'm not really sure we can. And, he got the push out, which gave him pretty good information as well. So even if he does go down, not exactly a loss, and the scoreline says otherwise. 8-0, UOE is still looking for something on their attacking half here. And we mentioned them not using the ultimates early. Well, they've used them all, and they still didn't get anything for it. It's a piecemeal buy for the attacking side, and they're walking into the welcoming arms of the boy Shawnee T, who just does not stop. This would be rude. This is just rude. Lord.
What, Shawnee?
He's got no fear.
He's out of here, man. It doesn't even matter what happens to the track and dart. I mean, he's out of there, easy peasy. But this time, no attention over towards the heaven area. This time, Benny has actually backed out to try to help out the B side take. But instead, this could open up things for an elevator take, but nothing of the sort. Instead, they're still going to commit over towards that B side. You do see, though, that lurk on, but none of it matters. Jenga takes down Michael. Benny with a 2K. P-Man, who else but him, to put the nail in. Washington, 9-0. They're looking to sweep up this set ASAP.
It's weird to me to see Shawnee T having so much more success with the operator here than we saw him have on Bind. It honestly feels like old school Kenny S. Like that kind of hyper aggression.
Yeah.
Can we pull up? Is that like a sacrilegious name in Valorant? I feel like I'm allowed to say it, right?
No,
like
I mean,
the way he's playing. Times of old, Gus.
All I'm saying is that when I hear that, I like Shawnee. I do.
Okay.
I really do.
Yeah,
he's doing great. He's aggressive.
Not the same.
Okay. Yeah. I just miss Kenny, man. 4v4 though. Going forward, Jenga. We missed that one out, but it doesn't matter. Jenga, he still got it. 3K off the hold. Oregon is out of here as they're going to be able to get their spike plant for the first time in a while. Oh, no way.
I was worried. If he got that, I would have been mad. I would have been so mad, Gus. 2v2, though. It's the best chance UOE have had. Let's see what the post-plant position looks like. Jet pushed all the way out in mid, looking to catch a rotation here. Does maintain a pretty good degree of heaven control, but that means Harambe is all alone here to cover 2 angles. For WGA, it's all about checking your corners here. Is that going to take it out?
Lockdown's huge, and indeed it will. Yes. Well done. Harambe still ends up going down, but Jimmy is allowed a little bit more space to make his way on. Needs this for pick. Indeed, gonna get it. Dash on! Oh, Jimmy! Hey, man, he gets off of it! Could have been able to stick on for just a couple more milliseconds, but Jimmy, he gets himself an ace all around.
It's about goddamn time somebody got an ace in this game, guys. How many 3 or 4s have we seen? Somebody, it's finally Jimmy to break the silence and put UOE up on the board. You're going in with 3 ultimates here. They've got an okay buy heading into this round. It's not a pretty half, right? It's not what you wanted to see, but you have to remember you're playing on split. Attacking momentum is still fairly limited. So for them to get 2, 3 rounds up on the board here, they would not be mad.
Well, folks, this one is very much a faster take towards the A area, and the double nano swarm goes off at a great time. No check from Jarrett, though. It is a little bit more of a one-and-done position, but they're still wide swinging on. Baj able to get one back. Benny on the flank in, on the rotation, back going to be able to get one. Same thing with Jenga, but Harambe able to get 2. He is full HP, showstopper and everything. Fake plant, and they still detect it. He hasn't gone in it, and the paranoia is huge. Washington, with all of their options covered, it took them an ace to get a round back. And that time, it would have had to be Harambe to try to step up to the plate.
And I'll be real with you, I feel like we're sleeping a little bit on Jenga. Has been a rock on this A site.
Oh, yeah.
Every single time at the back of site. Yes, you get traded out, but you're trading yourself for like 2, 3. You're holding the position so the spike can't go down before the rotate gets in. Because on split, I mean, there's a reason why so defenders sided a lot of the time. It's because those rotations come in so quickly. And if this Killjoy is just buying a couple more seconds, it's all the time they need to get back in there. Now a quick B push. They're looking to keep the pace up from last round, utilizing that breach ultimate to get themselves in straight past the slow orb. But Shawnee, where the hell did this judge come from?
Whatever, man. Dashing in, dashing out, doesn't matter. Shawnee T still able to hold it down on his Losum. He's discombobulated. He's all over the place. But Oregon, oh, that paranoia is massive, but they still have to cover up the stairs. Cross, Kona, smoke. Benny, huge. Benny with a 3K. This is Washington, they still take another. Oh boy, I mean, you gotta feel for the boys over on the B-man area though. Shawnee T, he looked completely done out of it. But the dash, it's the same speed no matter what. Whether you're flashed, whether you're in through a rolling thunder, it was able to dash back in a great position. So much sound going in, so they barely even heard it. And even then, able to get a whole lot of damage with the judge. And overall, just a more than successful round. Washington, 11-1 going forward. But let's look at the holds now. As they're holding solo Cypher B, double hold over towards Heaven. This is going to be a fight for the A-man area. We're looking at potentially a paranoia into the Heaven area early, too. This could get massive. And there it is.
It's a very different setup from what we saw coming out of the opposing side on their defense. It's full setup for the retake here. Jared Frost, though, gets one. If Jared can stay in the position, find a little bit more value. Can't quite. Spike will be allowed to go down. It's retake now, 3v4 for UOE in an extremely important round.
Harambe trying to cover his bases. Boombot back into elevator. Nothing detected there, so he groups up with his teammate back over towards screens. They're not even going to take elbow. Double out into the open. Harambe alone. It's down Benny. 2v2, but it's P-Man and Jenga to sweep it on away in the end. Again, it was an interesting idea because they still ended up having the smoke over towards the ramp area that ended up dragging out the crossfire that the players even had. So to that extent, it was a coin flip. The players run on out of the smoke. You do have the advantage, but with pistols, things are still a little bit more up in the air. But University of Oregon, they find themselves in a bleak position as we have 11 match points for Washington.
There's a long road to potentially trying to take away this game. We're the ones riding it, though. I mean, we wanted a test to see between which was better, Stinger or Spectre at this point. I think that's exactly what we're getting now. Not exactly the fairest of things, as UOE aren't able to match an armor or utility. All stuck in corners with these. It'll be Michael up for the first. Gets sprayed down. Harambe able to trade out one. 4v4 now. The B site has been taken over, but 3 members wrapping from the flank here. P-Man's not going to be ready for what's about to hit him.
It's a huge B-main take. And then one over towards the Heaven area. Double drop. Smoke is up too, so these players, they could just commit to this. Benny, he's fighting it forward, but in comes Jared Frost. Has the Stinger. Shawnee takes him down. 1v2. Harambe takes down Benny in a 3K, but it's Shawnee T to take it on away. Washington, they're going to maintain their perfect record here for Conference 1. They're going to make things 3-0 with a 13-1 victory on Split.
They tie themselves up for first at it. What a weirdly anticlimactic second map after that first one.
A little bit, yeah.
Split was so good, though, for Washington. And we can go all the way back to the bans, right? Getting a sent out guarantees them, I mean, basically, Icebox or Split, being in the map pool somewhere or another. And I don't think they cared which of those it was. I'm really curious to see what kind of cheese we'd see him bring out on an Icebox if P-Man's pulling out all those kind of dirty angles. I expect things would only get more ridiculous. These guys were 100% ready for this map.
1000%. Again, good defensive hold. They had all their options covered in a sense. I really like the early usage of util. Still very much a basic wall over towards the mid side, but good oppression in terms of the smokes. Didn't have too many flashes going in, but the paranoia was used pretty well off of the retakes. And we're not exactly talking about too many retakes in terms of just straight up spike plants. It's just trying to retake position, trying to retain the control that their opponents ended up making the space for. So again, all of their options covered, and not only that, but winning out the gun duels, especially on the man P-Man, that ended up leading up to their victory. So big performance by Shawnee T and P-Man at the end of things. It was Baj in map number 1 to really sweep things up. And dude, I mean, what a game from both of these teams, man.
Yeah, I mean, the raw fragging individual potential of Washington, I really have to give my hat off to the opposing side. Oregon almost did it. And that's what I said at the end of the previous game, right? It doesn't matter how close map 1 is. You're still heading into map 2 down 0-1. Had that headed to a third, Lord knows how long we'd have been here for. But I'm glad we got to be along for the ride.
Yes, sir. It's an early nap time, folks, and it's just about that time of the night. We are going to be booting on out of here, and we appreciate you guys once again tuning into yet another Conference 1 production. But before we do go, we do have an interview coming up with one of the players from the University of Washington. You'll say who just in a little bit as we go into a break.
I'm just calling to say. It's gonna be too much for us to Baby, this is do or die. Feel it in my veins tonight. Emotional suicide. You know it's an eye for eye. I didn't wanna walk the plank. No. But the Mariona, it came like the thunder. I was on my way to going under. Swimming in the banya, I was covered in a tidal wave, But I'm a fighter, trying to take me down, I'm going higher. Baby, you've been playing with some fire. You've been playing with fire. One day you will see what you made of me. Found my inner peace. You are chillies in the dead of night. In the dead of night. Baby, when it's do or die, you know it's an eye for eye. Feel the energy align in the dead of night. 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 You can save your alibi. I already know you lied. Oh no, no, don't even try. Watch the flame in me ignite. You didn't wanna walk the plank. But the Mariona, it came. Baby, it was dark, it was hard to see. And that's when a spark lit inside of me. Oh, I was lost from reverie. One day you will see what you made of me, what's inside of me. Oh. please.
Welcome on back, folks. We are here with one of the winners from Washington. It is none other than Vosh. How are you doing, buddy? One word, all you need to know, because that second game, it was as simple as you can get. Because I want to talk to you about what could be potentially the comms in your server. What was the vibe like going in from map 1 to map 2?
Yeah, I'm muted. Yeah. Sorry.
All right, now we're good.
Sorry, I was saying, like, I guess I was like a little tilted at my team at the time because we threw that game a little hard, and since like me and Sean both dual IGL it kind of, but like I guess I would be like the main IGL, and like I was just like telling them that they got to be more disciplined, like we can't be giving up picks and stuff because we really threw that second half, like it should have been over a lot sooner than it was, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it wasn't the cleanest end out to a game, but you guys did get there, and that kind of raises the question. Early on, you had a lot of momentum, a lot of confidence, you lost it, but you managed to find it back. What's the main difference between the streak of rounds where you're winning and you're losing? Because clearly something changed, whether it be in comm, strategy, or otherwise.
I think that like on almost all of our matches, we lose the first game, or we throw it, just because like I don't know what it is, if we're like warming up or just like getting used to it. But like the comms get just like a lot of times they just get really cluttered, and like I have to be like just like making sure everyone stops talking and just, you know, focus on the game. I know that Sean like gets an ego sometimes, and he just wants to like hard push them all the time, and like that's like his thing, you know, it works. But whenever like it doesn't work, we start losing. And I know that he started doing some like crazy stuff towards the end of that second half, and like I didn't really care at the beginning, but we started like pulling it down at the end just to make sure we got the game down.
Gotcha. And I think we're gonna bring up a clip. I think it was map 2, round number 2.
Oh yeah.
And just off of this one, I think it was as quick and clean as you can get. It was P-Man playing a little bit of an off angle, not just an off angle. This is literally a one and done, but they just don't check the angle. But what was just the communication in terms of the defaults throughout the entire game? Because you guys did start to ply it out a little bit. Shawnee did start to get more aggressive towards mid. So how were you able to potentially manage that as an IGL?
I think this is actually really funny because I legitimately called this exact thing. I was like, yo, P-Man, just go up on the box. They're not going to clear you. And Sean's just going to stand there and shoot his shotgun and distract. And like it just worked out exactly as like we had expected it to. That's like typically our standard setup on defense second round is just throw someone up there and just distract them on the other side because of this new change on split. It's pretty powerful, and it guarantees like 2 or 3 kills going into it. Definitely going into the second game, our communication was just like way better. And I'm definitely a better defensive sided caller. So it worked out really well that we got to start on defense and just, you know, lock it down while we could. And
yeah, and I'm curious. We talked a little bit about what was going on with the pick bans, because we don't see Split really thrown up into the map pool before map 3 too often here. Obviously, you are picking between, you know, Ascent, Icebox, and Split a lot of the time with these maps, but one of them's already relegated to a 3. But you guys kind of pushed the buck in banning Ascent first and leaving up, you know, what is the ban for Oregon here? Was there a particular map you were hoping for between, you know, kind of obviously Icebox or Split, barring any weird bans?
Split is the UW map. I'll throw that out there. Like anyone that's playing against us, you know, I mean, I don't want to say it, but like, because they're gonna ban it. But we have pretty much 100% win rate. I think we've lost 1 game. I'm not even sure if it was in CF1 or not, but like it's just always been our confident map pick, and I know like a lot of people don't like it, and that's why we just made sure that we have that strong pick. So if we get it, it's like a guaranteed win. And the reason why we don't play Ascent is because we don't play a Sova. None of us know how to play Sova. So we always ban out Ascent if we can, because like it's just impossible to hit the map without Sova.
So just to end things off, anything in terms of adjustments that you want to take going into your next game, your next week? Because yes, it was a successful game overall, of course, 2-0, 13-1, map number 2. But in general, what are going to be the scrims like? What type of adjustments do you have off the top of your head?
I think we need to start scrimming. We have
That would be
only
a good
done
start.
one scrim. We've only done one scrim together as a team. That was yesterday. I think we just have been relying on our individual talent for a long time, and it really shows when we start losing rounds. We have to get back into that rhythm of getting picks and stuff. Because if anyone on the team gets unconfident, then we start losing rounds. So we just need to get into the practice, just into a match with no one and just talk about standard defaults and stuff, and just play more disciplined in general. And that'll just come with playing together more. So.
Gotcha. Well, Baj, congratulations on the dub. The floor is yours. Any shout outs? Any final words?
No, I think we're good. Just shout out to my school, UW.
There you go. Hey, appreciate you for your time, and good luck with the rest of the season.
Thank you.
Folks, that is going to be the end of our broadcast here for CF1. Any final thoughts, Dor, on tonight's matches and potentially how much fun we can have watching these players for the rest of the season?
I think that was the most triples and quads we've seen in 2 maps of Valorant, and maybe the entirety of CF1's existence. That was one of the most ridiculous games, and from 2 teams that have the capability to pop off big time. Even, it's weird seeing, University of Oregon go 1-2 right now, but that just tells you the level of competition that's over on the West Coast. All these other divisions have really got to look out if they want to try and take them on when the tournament comes.
Yes, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, keep staying tuned in because CF1 starting to get a little bit spicy here for the spring split. You can expect more Oregon. You can expect a whole lot more Washington. Washington now find themselves tied for first with a 3-0 record. But for now, we are out of here. My name is Upmind. You can follow me on Twitter at Upmind_. You can follow my partner here, Dor, at Dorcast. We'll be back in the future, but for now, we're tuning off. Thank you guys so much, and have a great night.
The tables turned. Didn't think I'd go this far, but here we are, the end. Now you're just a lesson learned, a slowly fading memory, so I can breathe again. Gain our trust and you chose to break it. Ask for truth, but you only fake it. Thought you said what we had was sacred. It's all lies.